So this greenhouse is constructed with electrical conduit. Ooh. The door's a bit tight. So yeah, I'm saying it's electrical conduit, and the base here is 4x4s. There's 4 of them, 12 foot long, and yeah, forms a 12x12 square. And then these electrical conduit ribs over the top, and a pole down the middle just to kind of support everything. And also I had to add this pole along the side here to stop the snow pushing it in the winter. So what I have in here, these are cucumber plants. They're just starting to get going. They were a bit slow this year, but I should have some cucumbers fairly soon. There's one down there. I got some eggplant. I don't really know why I grow eggplant. I don't actually like eggplant, and they don't usually produce fruit for me, but yeah, I'd like to, for some reason I still want to be able to grow them, so I try every year. Got various kinds of pepper here. These are just the little mini bell peppers. You can see there's one possibly on the back there. Yeah, there's a few more here. And I've got some Mexican mix, so I don't really know what I'm going to get, but you know, hopefully get some interesting peppers. And there's some cayenne peppers and some jalapenos. These here are some cannabis plants that I was given. I traded, what did I trade? Oh yeah, I gave somebody some artichokes, and you know, they asked me what I wanted, and I said, well, whatever you got that's interesting. So they brought me a couple of cannabis plants. I don't have much use for them myself, but I figured it's a good opportunity to kind of learn how to grow them and yeah, see what's involved. So yeah, I don't know if I'm doing it right, but I've been pruning these guys and looking after them, and we'll see how they do. These are my tomatoes. So what I have, these tall ones in the front are a variety called Vantage. It's an older variety of greenhouse tomato. These are indeterminate, which means they'll just keep growing as long as the conditions are favourable. So these need pruning, and basically in the pruning you want to take off these suckers or side shoots that grow between a leaf and the main stem. If you see a shoot that's growing by itself on a stem, like this here, this is a flower shoot, and obviously you don't want to take that off because that's where your tomatoes are going to grow. I got a couple of different varieties of tomato in here. The ones in the back here are a variety called Heinz, and these are determinate, which means that basically every shoot ends with a bunch of flowers, so they don't have the same vining habit as the indeterminate. You can get a better look here at a determinate one. So you know, we have this stem coming up here and it ends with these flowers. They do still produce these side shoots or suckers, but those will also end with flowers. So there's really no pruning that needs to be done with these, other than, you know, taking off some of the lower leaves possibly, especially where they're shading fruit. Yeah, but other than that, there's no real pruning or training really. The only reason these are trained is because well, this is not what I thought it was. I thought this was going to be a variety called Candyland. That's what I planted, but there must have been a mix-up in the seed, and yeah, I've got an unknown determinate variety of tomato. So once I realized it was determinate, I stopped pruning it, and I basically gave up on training it. So it's, the strings are holding it up so it doesn't kind of flop all over the path, but yeah, I'm just leaving it to see what it does there now. Yeah. So let's have a quick look at my watering system here. So because I travel a lot for work, my greenhouse goes several weeks at a time with no attention. So obviously watering is going to be an issue. So I use this programmable irrigation system here, and yeah, it allows you to set up irrigation on 4 different channels. At the moment I'm just using 2 channels. So that yeah, that can be used to deliver water directly to the plants through these little drippers. Let's have a look. Where are my drippers? Yeah. So there's one under here. So at the moment it's doing, I think, well, we can actually have a look. Yeah. So on channel 3, it waters at 4 AM for 10 minutes once a day. And that seems to be about right to keep these plants all happy. Okay, so that's it for my greenhouse. Let's go and have a look at the top gardens now. So this is my top garden. Consists of 3 different beds. This is the newest bed here. It was brand new last year. I grew squash in it, and this year I'm growing potatoes. In the back there I have an espalier trained apple tree. Doesn't seem particularly happy there. I may move it next year. Over here have more spuds and a few weeds. Got a bit of weeding to do here. I'm not growing these in the sort of traditional way of ridging them up. Instead I'm growing them under a mulch. So this mulch consists of some spoiled hay, which is this stuff here, and then on top of that I put a layer of chicken manure, and then on top of that I put some leaves. The potatoes are planted just maybe 2 or 3 inches below the surface, and then all the mulch was thrown on top. So we'll see how that works. Yeah, I may post a video when it comes to harvest time and see what I get. Up here in the fence we have my rutabagas, or turnips depending on where you're from. This is a green top variety. Let's have a look. Yeah, you can see it's a green top variety. These are not quite ready to harvest yet, although I did have one a couple of days ago and actually cut it into discs and fried it, and it was quite tasty. So in addition to the turnip, I have some Brussels sprouts and some cauliflower planted here, and then you can barely see them, but over there's also some onions. This garden was actually the first bit of garden on this property here when we bought it in 2008. The first ground we broke wasn't for the house, it was for this garden here. So this has had quite a lot of amendments and stuff added to it, and it was good soil to start with. The biggest issue we had here was drainage, and under here, can't really see it very well now, but I have a drainage ditch with some weeping tile land drain in it, so that takes some of the water away and stops the ground from being quite so wet. Up in the back here I have an area that I cleared in the spring, and this is going to be for a larger greenhouse. So there's a drainage ditch that goes all around the back, again with the land drain in it, and in the next few weeks I'll be backfilling that with some rock and some crushed stone, so that that drain will keep this area a little bit drier than it has been. And at the end of it I'm going to have this little pond here to collect the water which I can use for irrigation.